Good morning. My name is Catherine M. Walker. I'm an indie author with 6 full-length novels and soon to be 1 novella, which will be out officially on the 31st, at least for my newsletter subscribers. And currently, I've just jumped into what will be my 7th full-length novel or my 8th book overall, depending on whether you include my novella. Depends on the word count. I kind of don't, because it feels like a cheat doing something so short and claiming it as a book, but there you go. It is one. So I guess I include that in the stats as well. It is now Monday, the 27th of January. We're into the last week of January already, and I have no idea where the time is going. It seems to be flying past at this point. The week that's been was unexpectedly productive. I was really happy with how it turned out. If you remember last week, the big thing was I had a convention. So I spent a lot of time gearing up for that, packing up books, packing my car, going to and from, spending all weekend on display, as it were. So Monday and Tuesday, well, Monday I had definitely planned that was going to be my day off because I hadn't had a proper day off. And then the Tuesday, I was still feeling it, so I took that off as well. That's when I decided that I would make last week about rereading the first 25,000 words that I'd already written in November last year for Project Dragon, just to get back in touch with what I'd been drafting, what I'd been writing, the characters that I'd come up with, and see where I was up to before jumping back into drafting again this week. But as it turns out, not only did I start reading through what I had written, I just couldn't seem to help myself. I did jump back into writing, and it started off like slow. So what day was it? I think the first day that I actually put a few words. Yeah, so not many. I did do a little, so I did write a little bit on Tuesday, but more out of a sense of I have to stop procrastinating and doing it. So, but Tuesday was 367 words, but it felt like pulling teeth. So that's when I just decided, you know what, this is silly. It's not worth it. It'll probably reflect in the writing anyway. Just put it down and read tomorrow. So the Wednesday, I did not have a word count for that day, but I did read through a lot of what I had done. But Wednesday's also when I do my update for YouTube. So I recorded that video and did the thumbnails and did all of that anyway. So that pretty much filled up my day, along with there was some admin stuff. I've said it before that my dad's in hospital at the moment. So there was a whole bunch of phone calls and arranging to be made around some events that are happening with that. That pretty much took my day up. But then on Thursday, again, I reread through most of the chapters and I got 163 words. Not a lot. In fact, that's pretty paltry, but at the end of the day, I wasn't expecting to write any. So I think from memory, I finished off a scene. So I had a part scene that I didn't quite finish off. So I just added a few extra words to flesh that out. That'll obviously need to be redone at a later point, but I don't believe in doing that until I've finished the rough draft. So I did that. Friday is a day off. So obviously on Friday the 24th, I went over, had lunch for Mum. That was a full day off, and I kept it as that, even though I'd only really done those few days of writing in the first place. But then the weekend hit, and even though I did not have it in my schedule to write, I decided because I'd had the extra time off this week, I picked up my writing, and not only did I read a few more of the scenes that I'd written, I wrote a whole new chapter. So, or I rough drafted a chapter, and that ended up being 1,413 words for the day. So again, really, really happy with that. I think that's a pretty solid, again, for a day that I wasn't expecting to write any words. I would have just been happy if I'd written here in my planner that I had read through like 5 chapters worth of content. Then on Sunday, this is the real knock out of the park day. I fell back into, so I just finished rereading the scenes that I'd already written for a character at the moment that I've just called the Scholar. And he is going to be one of the main point of view characters in this story, not the only one, but one of them. And I read through his chapters and then kicked off with the writing. I did 3 writing sessions throughout the day, and I ended up at the end with 4,351 words written for Sunday. That is amazing. This was all in the afternoon too, because my morning I obviously do my weekly review and I plan for the week coming ahead, which is the week we've just started now. So this was 3 writing sessions in the afternoon with that word count. That obviously then included, if you know, the writing session started at 1 p.m, then I did another in mid-afternoon, and then I did pick up my laptop and write a little bit more in the evening. So 4,351 words, that's solid. That's solid even for a dedicated writing day. I am not going to put myself down for that. That was awesome. So really happy. So that brought my weekly word count up to about 6,370, give or take. My math might be slightly wrong, but that's about where it ended up. I think there could be a small handful of words that are in notes and things like that with that, but I include those too because I am rough drafting. That's awesome. For a week where I just decided I was just going to read what I had already written, and then get back into it this week, I'm really happy with that word count. When you put those 2 things together, plus the shortened writing week for me, that's good. And I'm going to claim it and give myself a pat on the back for that. So my goal, writing-wise, for this week, again, it's going to be a messy, short week. Thus why I decided I better get some content to put an update on for Wednesday, and I better start now. This week there's some family stuff coming up, so Wednesday is out. I need to get this update scheduled at least, so it will come out. So I will do this now, and I will record today. Depending on how this goes and how many updates I do today, I may actually do some tomorrow. We'll see how the day pans out. So I have today, but it's also the last week of the month. So on Friday, which will be the last day of this month, I have my blog come out, my newsletter. I'm releasing my new book to my newsletter subscribers and on direct from my own store. So that's coming up on Friday the 31st. Plus, I do my YouTube live. This is that's a lot of content I have to prepare and get done prior to, other than the live. Obviously, I don't have much prep for that. But so this morning, I need to get my blog and newsletter done. So I think that's what I'm going to do this morning. I am going to get that done. I will put aside the images. That should be pretty easy. I already have them, since the blog post and the newsletter are all about my new novel, or novella rather, Against All Odds. So hopefully this won't take me all morning. But that is pretty much what I've got in place for the morning, and then I'll pick up a writing session in the afternoon. But Tuesday is good. I should be able to do morning and afternoon and evening writing sessions just to make up some time. But then I have Wednesday. There's a bit of family stuff going on. I have to be in town for a meeting, so I can wipe out Wednesday. If I get something done, work-wise, writing-wise, I'll be very surprised. So at this point, I'm just saying it's a dead day. It's not happening. I have family stuff, so real life stuff happening. But then I have some writing time on Thursday. But then Friday, as always, is the day that I go over to my parents' place and take my mum out to lunch, potentially my dad as well if he's out of hospital. So I will do my live first up in the morning, and then the rest of the day is gone, essentially. So I think for this week, word count wise, I'm going to be happy. I'm easing myself in, regardless of the 6,000 odd words that I got done unexpectedly last week, which I am so happy with. I have a bit on this week, so I'm giving myself a low word count goal of 5,000 words. If I get that, I'm going to be really happy. If I exceed that, that's going to be out of the park, particularly given what I have on. But I'm also aware that there are good days and bad days. So when it comes to writing, there's the days where you knock it out of the park and get, say, 5,000 words. And then there's the day where you get 163 words. Neither one of those, like the 163 words, that's not bad, particularly not if you, say, ended up a scene that you were struggling to finish, and then you just put down those few words that rounded things off. That's still good. But that's where I'm at. So this is my week, and right now I'm going to stop talking to you and get my blog post drafted. I think I'll do that first, then I'll move on to my newsletter. And I'll chat with you after I've done that. Bye. Right, so I have just finished my drafting my newsletter, and that is scheduled to come out on the 31st. And I've also drafted my blog, and that will come out on the 31st as well. They're pretty similar. There's just a slight tweak between the two, given it's two different things. One is more wide and the other is direct. Obviously, on my blog, I don't include a download link, since that's just on my blog, whereas the download link, direct download link for Against All Odds, is included with my newsletter. Now, I've already got and set up Against All Odds on Book Funnel, which will be the platform that delivers that ebook to my subscribers. It's so I started that about, it was about 10 to 9, I do believe, when I started that. It's now 10:24, so not too bad time-wise. But next up, so the next little job on my little to-do list here is to go to my PayHip store and put Against All Odds up there with a scheduled release date of the 31st. It'll be on my stores, both WooCommerce and my PayHip store, for the equivalent of about 99 cents US, which in Australian terms roughly works out to be about $1.50. Obviously it depends on the exchange. They do tend to, if it detects a country you're from, it should display the price in your country. But obviously for ease, I set it in one currency and then it will automatically adjust depending on whether it's PayHip or WooCommerce. They're different sales engines, but it's the same thing ultimately. So now I need to go set those up so that when people hit those little links I've included on the 31st, or if people do, it will take them to either PayHip or Woo. The reason I have the two, for those people who might be wondering, there is a disclaimer, but it's primarily, I set up the PayHip store because of the EU. There is a few issues there and extra legislation, and PayHip just handles that for me. So I restrict the little store, the WooCommerce store that is on my actual website, and don't allow people from the EU to purchase from there. My apologies, but out of my hands in regards to the legislation. Although, let's face it, I don't get a lot of sales really from the EU with the exception of Germany. I seem to get quite a few sales there, so all of these restrictions and the EU making it really, really difficult makes me a little bit sad, but since it starts curtailing my thoughts as to what I'm going to do, at this point, it's probably not going to do much more than allow ebook purchases for that part of the world. There are even more new restrictions coming in for the EU, and that's primarily in relation to print copies. It's something to do with their health and safety. I don't know why the EU seems to be terrified of books and maybe injuries from paper cuts. Don't know. The rest of the world doesn't seem to have a problem except the EU. But either way, at the moment, if you want the ebook, that's where you need to go. And those links will be on my website under Against All Odds from the 31st. But right now, my next job is to go to both those different platforms, upload on there. I need to go into my book funnel. Thankfully, the file's already in book funnel, but I just need to set up, it's like a little webhook, and I need one for each of those stores so that when you make a purchase on those platforms, you will get the emails from book funnel allowing you to download that ebook that you've just purchased. So this is job 2, and that will hopefully take me up and I'll be finished just before lunch. And then I can get on to some writing after lunch, I hope. Let's see how it goes. Okay, it's just gone 11:30 and I've just finished up setting up the ebook download files for both my PayHip store and my WooCommerce store on my website, and copied links. Things are scheduled to come out from the 31st. I'll obviously double check on that and make sure everything works, or that it really does go live when it's supposed to. But I think that's me done for the morning. I might just go make myself a cup of tea since I've already had 2 cups of coffee today. Don't think I need a third. And then after lunch, I will crack on with some writing. I'm not sure what scene I'm going to jump into yet, but I'll make that decision after lunch. This seems to be turning into a vlog, so a day in my life type thing. So I guess I will come back this afternoon and let you know how I go with my writing, and then we'll wrap it up after that, hopefully. Anyway, we'll chat this afternoon. So I had lunch and had my break, obviously. It's about 2 o'clock, so I had a little bit more downtime than what I planned, but hey, that's okay. I kind of feel like I did a fairly solid morning. So this afternoon I am going to jump into my whip and get a bit of writing done. Specifically, this is in the point of view of a character that will be, I think, will be mixed up in how one of my antagonists eventually get released. So in this world, there are gods, but they're not necessarily nice gods. They're not people you want to meet. So worship has been banned for a very long time. But it's been banned for so long that most people weren't alive the last time these gods walked around on this planet. And so they don't remember why
they shouldn't worship. So one of the only ways that these gods can come back is if worship starts again. And this person, while they start with all good intentions and they don't start bad, at least the chapter that I've written here, the character is just, I guess, a little bit naive and innocent. And I'm thinking that the way their arc is going, at least for this particular book, the first book in the series, this is going to be the journey of how they go from the place where they started as quite innocent through to being not a particularly nasty individual in the end, and what happens to them and why with those series of decisions they make, and how they turn into that. At least that's vaguely what I'm thinking. I guess I'll see how it turns out as I start writing. But for now, I'm going to kick off a new scene. And I won't say much other than say that this person is in the library and they are stacking books back. And they find there are books on gods, but the people in this current era believe that it's all myth and legend. Things like magic doesn't exist. The gods don't exist. What they don't realize is that both of those things do exist. So this person gets this scroll out that details about one of these gods and that time and era and magic. And because they're trying to get better at reading and trying to further themselves, they take this scroll to study it. And so the scene I'm going to write now is where they find this scroll and they decide to keep it, and they take it to study what's inside of it. And this is going to be, as I said, about one of the gods who hears their name being called for the first time in generations, basically, and starts to wake up. I don't think they're going to wake up in this particular scene, but they will do when this character starts calling their name and starts trying to practice for fun, really, some of the stuff they're seeing in this scroll, or reading about rather in this scroll. So that's enough about me saying what I think I'm going to be writing. I'm just going to jump right in here and see how it goes. Right. So, I have just finished the chapter I was writing. I managed 2,379 words. Really happy with how it's turned out. Yeah. I'm really, really happy, not just with how this chapter has turned out. Yeah, okay, granted it's rough, but with what I achieved last week, and it seems that the words are all starting to flow this week as well. Touch wood. Hopefully it continues that way. One of those rare things that I find, or maybe not rare, who knows, maybe others find the same thing. I'm a discovery writer, but once I hit the 25 to 30,000 word mark, the words seem to come a little bit easier as, I don't know, I get to start knowing the characters and the story and what's going on. And while I don't know all that this story is going to be yet, I need to write a little bit more. I do know more about the character of the scholar and what happens to him. And now Lorelei, I'm pretty sure I know where she's going to end up at the end of this book, even if I don't exactly know how she's going to get there yet. But right now it's 4:00, so I'm going to take another break. I need to take my little puppy dog for her afternoon walk in the park. It's going to be hot for the next few days, so I don't want her to miss out because she probably won't get out once it gets back above the 40-odd degree mark. I don't know if I'll do some writing this evening after dinner, but we'll see. Even if I don't get back to it, getting nearly 2,500 words for the day, I'm really happy with that. Anyway, that's it for now, and if I don't get back to you this evening, I'll do an ending and close it here. See you later. And she's good. So, good evening. What's the time? It's 9 o'clock, so it's not that late. I did actually just do another writing session, but I think I'm done for the day. I finished another chapter. It's a shorter chapter. It probably needs to be fleshed out a little bit more, but it came in at, let me just check, 1,400 words. And that brings me up to 3,800 odd words for the day. I think that's a pretty good effort given this morning was taken up in other tasks. And it's the most I've been writing for quite some time. It's, well, to be fair, I'm back into rough drafting again, which is an entirely different writing phase to like doing self-edits and rewrites, which is what I was doing obviously for Against All Odds. I have a funny feeling, I don't know, I might have one or two more chapters in me, I think, or scenes, part scenes for this character, and then I'm going to be done with them. At least I think for this part of the rough drafting, I may pick up some more. There definitely, don't get me wrong, there definitely does need to be more. There's bits missing in between some of the major scenes that I've just written for her. I am starting to explore the magic in this world a little bit more. I need to go a little bit more in depth about it and work out how it works, who has it, who doesn't, how all of these things connect. I've got a funny feeling that I'll get more of a handle on that as I get closer to finishing the book. So then I guess it'll come down to layering things through as I go through the rewrite after doing the rough draft. But after, I'll see what I think tomorrow. I may do another Lorelei scene tomorrow if I think of one between now and tomorrow or when I start writing. But otherwise, I might pick up one of my other characters and see if I can get some scenes done with them. This is entirely another group within this world. I haven't written that many scenes on them, but I'm expecting that will go a little bit slower. But given my goal for this week was 5,000 words and I'm already at 3,800, I kind of figured that I'm going to get that. So that shouldn't be too bad, even if I'm diving into a new character. So basically delving into my dragons a little bit more. I haven't fleshed them out. I've been doing a little bit of work on my half-breeds, but not the actual dragons themselves. So that might be tomorrow as well, but we'll see. But as I said, for now, I'm going to call it. This is the end of my vlog. So this is a day in my life. It's 9 o'clock. I'm just going to watch something frivolous on Netflix for the next hour or so, maybe 2, and then call it for the night. But I've certainly done writing. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Please, if you do, like and subscribe. It really does help me out. If you'd like to read my books, the descriptions are in the link below. As well, if you like audiobooks, I did have audiobooks made for the first series that I ever wrote. I will say, hey, writing is a learning curve, and I did learn a lot while writing that series. I am still, however, very proud of it. The narrator is certainly good. But anyway, they're totally free. Check them out, have a listen, and I will chat to you all on Friday. I'll be doing live, so if you want to join me, please do. And I will be reading the first chapter of Against All Odds. So hopefully I'll see you then. Otherwise, have a good couple of days. Bye.